Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We are Baltimore Positive. We're positively here at Reader's Crab House. We're in Reisterstown, beautiful Reisterstown, Maryland, Baltimore County. We have the Back to the Future scratch-offs from the Maryland Lottery. I'm distributing these out here today. Hopefully we're going to get some winners. Also our friends at Liberty Pure Solutions putting us on the road, and Raskin Global. And one of our foundational sponsors, of course, is Curio Wellness and our friends at Far and Daughter. I haven't been out lately doing like a show on scene. Wendy hasn't been around lately. She's off running around building the business, and they're in Mississippi and out in Missouri and doing other things. But they're partnerships that Curio Wellness and Far and Daughter have had with all sorts of people. And I met Al Harrington out at Pikesville a couple weeks ago when they opened what used to be Panera. I had a lot of bagels there in my day. You can now stop by and get products like Happy Eddie's Curio Wellness Strawberry Lemonade Chews.
There you go. Happy Edibles.
No. Eddie-bles.
Eddie-bles.
Eddie-ble.
Yeah.
Eddie-ble.
Yep. There you go.
That's hilarious. It's actually a real name. Eddie Osefo is here. He is Happy Eddie, better known to Richard from Michelle's wife as one of the stars of the Real Housewives of the Potomac. You're not the star, though. You're sort of like, you're sort of the entourage.
Yeah, I'm a part of the entourage, the background, the dancers.
Right.
Yeah, I support the supporting cast.
Supporting cast, right. There you go, the ensemble.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah. Like, you know what it would be if you were a musical? It would be the chorus.
There we go.
Be a part of the chorus.
Of course, yeah.
But you're a Baltimore guy, man.
Born and raised. Pikesville, actually, too.
So, the cannabis thing, people listen and say, hey, weed, gummies, pot, whatever. Give me your journey on this, because I've known you a couple years, and I started seeing the Happy Eddie brand, and then Wendy was explaining to me about the television show, which I didn't know about Potomac, but I knew about the original Housewives a million years ago and all that. There's some level of celebrity in your wife's work at the hospital, and you're an attorney by trade.
Yep.
You have this interesting African name. You're, all of this going in. This wasn't something I don't think you dreamed of having a business when you were back in college, right?
No. So I went to school, engineering, computer engineering, actually, and then I went on to law school. And my wife, she's actually a professor at School of Education. So I think we were professionals. We're professionals, born and raised in Maryland. And so the cannabis thing came about when, Maryland legalized cannabis. But before it legalized cannabis, I knew, that's a burgeoning industry that I want to get involved with. So when I knew that,
this will be popular.
This
is going to be popular.
Yeah. So when I knew that they were going to be, legalizing marijuana, I said, okay, how can I get involved in the business? And so I knew I was on the show. And so this name kind of went viral, Happy Eddie. One of the women tagged me with this name because I smiled at her, introducing myself to her. And it kind of took on a life of its own, because it's like, okay, you can't smile at somebody without them thinking you're advancing on them. And so
that was the plot.
That was the plot. She called me Happy Eddie because I was hitting on her because I smiled and said hello. And so that was kind of the thing that just went viral online. So I'm like, I got a name. Why don't I start a cannabis brand? And so then I partnered with...
What year is this?
This is around 2020. This is 2022.
So we're at COVID. That feels like 5 minutes ago, dude.
Just out of COVID.
I mean, it feels like a minute ago I had masks on. I still have one in the car I found the other day. Yeah. And I'm like, so this is only a 3-year...
Yeah.
From 3 years to, T-shirts and...
edibles,
what
flour,
allowed
pre-rolls.
you to believe... that it was possible. You've read a lot of books and whatever, but what's the pathway? Because I've asked Wendy about this, because her father was in the pharmaceutical space and all of that, and the science part of this went from chitter joke, let's get high, and what was the old movie from 100 years ago that they used to show on MTV, Reefer Madness, right?
Okay.
All of the stigma part of that has started to melt away. It's not fully there. Somebody out there, let's talk about weird, But this, the medicine part, the GI part, and I think the unexplored science part of this, not just economic opportunity or it makes you feel good at a concert or it makes you go to bed, but we've been taking some hard narcotic drugs in this country and some opiates. It ain't a drug; it's a plant. I've done the research, as Cat Williams said.
But I think it's all about normalizing the behavior. It's been highly stigmatized. It's been highly regulated industry, and there's a lot of science behind it. But a lot of people aren't educated. They don't know about the science behind it. They just think it's a get high, you get lazy, you're not a productive member of society. And that's why a lot of the things we do with my brand is just to normalize the behavior, to show that you could be an everyday professional, a professor, an attorney, and you can still indulge in cannabis and be a productive member of society. And I'm a parent, too.
Well, they're sick. I got vodka and beer up on in the back shot.
It's a lot safer than vodka and beer.
Oh, Well, you know what I would say to Wendy, and I would say this to my parents if they were alive and asked me about my cannabis sponsorship, online and my endorsement of it.
Yeah.
I don't endorse the ants getting into your gummies.
No.
Or your children.
Keep the happy edibles away from the ants. And children.
And
too.
children, yes.
Yeah. 21 and over, please.
And your parents, because they,
Well, I don't know. My mother-in-law just asked me about, okay, let me take a few edibles. So
what?
Even that generation.
Did that freak you out?
It did a little bit. She's
Where
like, okay,
was
how do you feel?
3 years ago on this?
Oh, she was like, what are you doing? Are you selling drugs? Or is the police going to come knocking on the door? Like, it's really, you have to change the mindsets.
Well, the interesting thing for me, from just a science and a grown-up, I'm 56 years old. So this has been something for the first 50 years that, you joke about it in Amsterdam or Jamaica or something like that, but it is what it is. Schedule 1, like all of that.
Yep.
And I said to Wendy maybe about a year ago, I don't know if it was on the air or off the air, because she toured me in the facility up in Timonium where the grow is and all of that. And that's kind of like a Willy Wonka fun thing. You put the suit on, but it's not something I need to go back and do again for kicks or whatever.
Yep.
It's not a field trip. It really was very scientific.
Yeah,
quite
very
frankly, I learned a ton.
Yep.
I'm sure you learned a ton too,
Yep.
but it begins as chitter, and you sort of laugh about it. And then I think to myself, I turn around here, and I'm at Reader's Crab House, and I'm like, all right, vodka.
Right.
I remember throwing up from that in Ocean City, 96 morning. Beer, don't get me started
Don't
on
forget about
beer.
the tequila back
Whiskey,
then.
tequila, right?
Yeah, tequila, there you go.
And I love tequila.
Yeah, me too.
All of these products, I have had some level of a love affair with at one point. Now, both my parents were alcoholics. I can say that straight up. So I've never had that problem. You know what I mean? I was beer sponsored forever.
Gotcha.
But when Budweiser and Coors and Miller built this radio station, I'm 27 years into this, nobody ever said, well, what's that beer doing for you? What's getting you
How
drunk?
How does it make you feel? Yeah.
It's making me feel uninhibited.
Right.
And then it's making me feel loose.
But what's it doing to your body then?
But then the next morning, as I got older, alcohol really has become something that I cannot overindulge. I mean, I love margaritas. And if I invite you and your wife over, and we have you're going to have the best margaritas you've ever had. I promise you. I have a margarita master that has taught me how to make a proper margarita.
I may have to take you up on that.
I don't do much.
I'm a margarita guy. So
I do radio and I do margaritas pretty well. And sales for advertising. That's another story altogether. But I have Avion and Herradura and G4. I have good tequila in my house. I'm a silver drinker because I'm mainly a margarita drinker. So I'm not an Anejo or Reposado guy. Although I don't dislike them. They just add a little. Like, I'm not a mezcal guy. I don't at all. I don't like smoking.
Too smoky.
I made these drinks, and they were good, man. I mean, like, I have really fresh lime, squeezed, and my agave, the way I do it.
Oh, that sounds good.
And I'm on the second one, I'm like, this is really good. And Jen's like, we got fresh limes. We got plenty of limes. So I squeezed it on. I made another batch, and the next day,
your head pounding.
And no reason. This is a Tuesday night. We're just eating nachos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is going down good. I want to have another.
Right.
I want to have another drink.
Right.
And the next day, I wasn't good till 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it wasn't awful. It was that level of hangover where you're like, I'm not throwing up.
You're a little groggy.
I just couldn't focus.
Yeah.
My head hurt.
There hasn't been one morning.
My head hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my head doesn't hurt.
No, it hasn't been one morning I woken up a day after being high that I felt, oh, man, I'm hurting, I'm hitting.
I can't go to work, can't do it, I can't focus,
Never.
And look, we're in a restaurant. I can't tell you how many times I've driven a porcelain bus from some of those products behind that bar while I'm endorsing them on the air and while society... No, people laugh at me if I was throwing up on the coastal highway. It's like, he got too drunk.
One too many.
Did he hurt anybody? He's not violent. You're happy, Eddie. I'm a happy drunk.
Okay.
I am a happy drunk. I am not an annoying. I am peaceful. I'm loving. I'm not the angry. Call everybody a hate drunk. I am a euphoric drunk.
Kind of drunk. Okay.
But no. I mean, I like to drink. I'll have a couple of rum and cokes on a flight. I'll have some. I drank. And when I drink too much beer now,
beer's a different story,
I got to really be careful as I get older about how it makes me feel. So my point would be, I said all this to Wendy last year, Wendy Bronfein from Curio. I'm like, nobody ever asks what's in that drink that is other than the label or the pretty girl in the Coors Light commercial or whatever.
Point.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is a whole different thing that's been stigmatized to the point of federal stigmatization to the point where
The war
Nixon
on
said
drugs, yeah.
we're not going to do any science around this
Yep.
product because there can be no scientific benefit.
Right.
Which you and I, that's just bullshit. You
Yeah,
know, I mean,
it
let's
is.
just call that what it is.
It is.
So now that we're into this space, what have you learned in the last 3 years that you could talk to my audience about that came from that stigma side to what you're learning in making products,
Yeah.
partnering, marketing,
Yep.
and then also being an African-American, well-educated lawyer out on the street with this stigma
Yep.
and this part of this. And I know also there were some things that were done at the state level to make sure people, Hispanic, African-American, could participate in this
Yep.
because this is a big money project. You had
It
to have
really
a
is.
lot of money to be involved in this industry.
It really is a capital-intensive project.
Everybody's the Yankees or the Dodgers, kind of, sort of.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
literally.
it is. But you gotta have a little bit to play in this ballpark, and that's another thing that we try to do because there's a lot of social equity applicants, social equity people who want to be involved in the industry because it's capital intensive. The barrier to entry is so high, and so the state has set up these funds, these grants to try to give them the opportunity to be involved in the industry. But it's still the barriers of entry is still high because it's so capital.
Were you a beneficiary of the grant?
I was not.
Okay.
I was not one of them.
You're not a grower, right?
I'm not a grower, so that's why I partnered with a licensed partner in the state.
So Curio, Wendy took me into the facility. It's up in Timonium.
Yep.
I'm familiar with Foreign Daughter. I got to meet you and your beautiful wife in the last two years. You've done the show a couple times. Level set how you came at it with, I'm Nasty Nestor, you're Happy Eddie.
Yeah.
If I wanted a Nasty Nestor brand, I'd bring X amount of dollars, X amount of partnership to go in. I thought you were just doing flour when I knew you. Now you've got...
We launched edibles. Great edibles, by the way.
So for your brand and your hopes and your dreams and your profit center and what you're trying to do, give me the whole, what you and your wife talked about 2-3 years ago, from where you were now to here with the Happy Eddie brand that is a line that's created by Curio and Curio's top of line
Top
product.
of line quality is beyond the. It's just out of this world.
That's why I'm a spokesperson for them.
There you go. There you go. But no, we've come a long way because when we were searching for partners, we wanted to search for a partner who has experience, quality products, and has a reputation that they breed excellence. And so, we're on the show. We have this platform. There's 1 million+ viewers every week that watch the show. And it's like you can leverage that platform to, A, market your products, A, market the normalization of, and try to eradicate the stigmatization of cannabis. But then B, you can also do some social good. So I do a lot of partnering with social advocacy organizations like Last Prisoner Project. So you're not just benefiting.
Last Prisoner Project.
Last Prisoner Project.
Last Prisoner.
And they help formerly incarcerated people who have cannabis convictions get expungements or get out of prison for these convictions. So they do a lot of great work in the community, but shining a spotlight on the work that they do, you don't see it much, and it needs to be seen because now that it's being legalized state by state, they're legalizing cannabis. There's a lot of people who are still locked up for cannabis, but it's now a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so just shining a spotlight on those organizations that are doing the work is very much so a part of
non-violent people.
Yeah, not just cannabis. If they're selling, maybe pounds of this, but that was years ago before it was legal, but now they're still locked up now. And so it's kind of one of those things where why are they still locked up? And now folks in their same states are selling what they sold back in the day, and it's now legal. And so
being taxed heavily.
And being taxed very heavily. It's actually going up July 1st, I believe, to 12% in Maryland. But I think that well,
that's another thing. I talk about that with a lottery. There's revenue generator for state.
Oh yeah.
Go ask Wes if he needs more revenue. He's freezing state, right, like literally. I talk about this with a lot. Even sports wagering has contributed a lot. Yeah. There are new streams of revenue, and this is one of them.
It
folks.
Really is.
It really is.
Because the rate at which I forget what the numbers are, but the rate at which people consume cannabis has increased since its legalization.
Well, it's really affected the alcohol industry, right? I mean, it's been a disruptive.
It has.
It's been a game
because it's an alternative.
Been a paradigm shift.
There's a lot of people now. It's no longer just a dry. It was a dry January. Now a lot of people are extending it throughout the year. Because they have these alternatives in terms of cannabis, in terms of using plant-based medicine. Because a lot of people don't just use it for recreational purposes. Sometimes they have pains, they have anxiety, they have depression. They have other ailments that they're dealing with that they use cannabis for. So it's not just a get high and party with the friends. It's like an actual medicine that folks are using.
Talk about that part of it, because I talk about that. I saw Michael Bronfine out at the Maryland party a couple months ago. The whole genesis of Curio and Foreign Daughter was Michael having GI issues and being formerly in the pharmaceutical space where drugs weren't helping people with their gut issues and having Crohn's, serious diseases that, and I can speak to this. I have a family member battling Parkinson's right now. The only thing that helps him is sativa flower.
Oh wow!
It helps his balance.
it,
It balances him out.
Right.
He's had falls. It's a tragedy. I mean, to have Parkinson's,
Yeah.
to have anything that can improve the quality of your life when
Right.
you're battling.
Right.
You know, when my wife had cancer, they said they told her at the hospital, do not smoke it because of her lungs.
Oh, okay.
Like, whatever you do, you have cancer,
Yep.
don't smoke a cannabis product when you have,
Really?
because of her lungs.
Okay.
I mean, she was my wife had cancer.
Got it.
She's battling leukemia. But it wasn't like, don't take the product to sleep or take the product
Got
for
it.
pain.
Got it.
You know, it was just sort of like the smoking part bad. And I guess that's where
Yeah.
other things come
alternatives,
in
yeah.
to say, going to bed. My
Yeah,
wife
pills, too.
has more trouble sleeping than I do.
Okay.
I'm up and
you're
down. I'm
trash.
good. I'm up when I need to be up. Down.
down when you
I'm
need
good.
to go.
I'm good.
You're good to go.
I don't need that
You need
that
the
issue.
assistance, yeah.
But she has to get up and go to work in the morning. I mean, they have time elapsed good night products.
Yeah.
It's amazing when I talk about it because it used to be take an Excedrin, take a Bufferin,
Yeah.
have a shot,
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
some, whatever it was. None of that was really. It was masking things and all of that.
Right.
This is a very comfortable, safe, well used.
Yep.
Now much easier
Easier
to pick up,
accessibility, yep.
adult use,
Yep.
and
you know what's in your products.
and
It's
there's a
they're on the label.
science involved in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
that even if you don't subscribe to it because of whatever your beliefs might
Right.
be, there's science
There's
here.
science that supports it.
And we're just scratching the surface of that,
I think
right?
so, yeah.
So with your products, what were you trying to do? And did you pick strawberry lemon? How many flavors you got?
Right now, we just have strawberry lemonade, and it's actually 5 milligrams, so it's like,
It's
for
low
the
key.
novice.
It's
So
low
you can
key.
start off slow, and then if you're one of those experienced users, I wouldn't suggest take 10 of them, but you may look for something else.
Right.
But this is for the everyday soccer mom, or a person who's just on the go, just to pop it and go. But yeah, we have
Take the edge off.
Take
is what
the edge
we're
off a little bit, and it tastes really good.
We have a drink here.
There you
I had
go.
no
You take
problem.
a little-
Hey, you want to get a drink?
take a
Yeah,
little
let's
shot.
take a shot. We'll take the
Exactly.
edge off. Nobody has any. That's a socially acceptable
Exactly.
since Prohibition, at least
Yeah.
during Prohibition, I guess too.
Yeah,
But I think we've come a long way in the last couple of years.
Right.
Certainly in my space of 50-year-old educated people,
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
comes up to me and says,
Right. Don't do that.
I
Don't
heard
do
you
that.
talking
Yeah,
about reefer madness.
Yeah,
So we've moved, and it wasn't even
It's
that way. Wasn't even
progressive.
that way 3 years ago.
No, that's,
It really, it's happening
making,
fast.
it's making strides. I mean, I would tell you that a lot of people aren't sniffing their nose at me being involved in the industry as much as they were in the beginning.
Okay.
It has changed. The
Did you
stigmas
lose
have-
any friends over it?
I didn't lose any friends, but a lot of people were questioning, like, "You're an attorney. What are you doing? What do you? It's even if taking aside the business aspect of it, there's like, I mean, it's still cannabis. It's still like an industry where people, you can go to jail for that. Like the stigmas are still attached to it, and so I think just changing the whole landscape to know that it's science-based. There's an education behind everything. It's actually there's things that have gone on to make people condition people to think that it's bad, and so now we have to recondition people to know that it's not all bad. It's actually good. There's some good that can come out of it in terms of, generational wealth for different people who are from the communities that were impacted by the war on drugs. They can now get involved in the industry and now change the trajectory of what their lives were when they were, getting impacted by the war on drugs, but now they can actually benefit from the cannabis industry. But then there's also people who have these chronic pains that traditional medicine doesn't address, doesn't help. Like you can't smoke if you have cancer. Like different things like that are now being addressed with cannabis, and I think people are opening their eyes, and that's why the
I
stigmas.
have that Move Bomb. I have it on my neck
Even
right
that?
now.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my God! Yeah,
Works wonders,
I can,
right?
The smell. It's not
Yeah.
tacky.
Yeah.
I wear it when I go into yoga. It kind of like really
Yep.
helps me, and I am. If you don't do anything today, the Move product is. I am on the front of that. I use it. It's on my back. It's on my hip right now. I keep it in my gym bag.
Yep. It's
when
not
I'm,
just
when I'm at
smoking.
Planet Fitness, I put it on and it's tingly, relief based. I feel better
Yep.
after I have it on. I open up a little better when I'm stretching and doing my hot
There
yoga.
you go. Even just that, it's not just smoking. You have the bars that you use for the move. You have edibles. You have pills. You have shots. You have so many different form factors that you can get cannabis in, and it's not the traditional. I just think a lot of things are based on education, and a lot of people don't know. You only know what you know.
And
a lot
that's
of
why
people
I'm here. I'm trying to educate people.
Yeah, there you go. And so once they learn about the different ways you can take the product, they may be open to it. And so I think that that's been my journey. I'm still learning each and every day, but I think that a lot of the marketing and a lot of things that go behind the brand is more so educating folks on A, what the mission of Happy Eddie is, and B, why are you even involved in this industry? And that's to change the stigmas that are associated with it and normalize the behavior. It's really, if you wanted to distill it down, it's really to normalize the behavior and educate people on why they could benefit from it. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But if you're open to it, you try it.
How's your famous wife? How's your she's a Real Housewife.
She's a Real Housewife. I'm a Real Housewife of Potomac husband. There's a hyphen in there. She's doing great.
How much FaceTime you get in the show?
I get quite a bit, actually. I'm actually now the longest tenured husband on the show.
We got divorces already?
Already. Oh, Nestor, you got to catch up. There's been quite a few.
You okay, though?
I'm good. We're good. We're good. We're celebrating 14 years. We're good to go. We got 3 little kids.
How is she doing? What's going on?
She's doing great. She's traveling a lot. She's actually filming right now. So she's filming this show, and she's doing good. She's still teaching, too.
What does she teach?
She teaches the actual course name. I'm not sure, but she has a new course that she just launched. It's the Sociology of Reality TV. And she's able to leverage both her teaching with her experience being on reality TV and the social norms and the social, things, cues that go into reality TV that we don't realize when we're consuming it as a viewer. And so it's like you think like, oh, it's just reality TV. It's like a science behind.
You taking her class? You going to be a student?
I audit it. I do audit it. I'm not signed up for it. I'm done with school. You're not going to give me any grades.
Dude, you're a lawyer. You had enough college.
Yeah, I've had enough.
Where'd you go?
I went to Rutgers for law school, and then I got my LLM from Georgetown.
Our time at Rutgers.
Yeah. Are you?
All right, man. Well, I spent a little time up on that campus as well. Happy Eddie Osefo is affiliated with our friends at Curio Wellness and Foreign Daughter. They do bring us out on the road doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour, along with our friends at the Maryland Lottery for being a guest on the show. Happy Eddie's going to get a Maryland Lottery ticket. Back to the Future scratch-offs. I'm going to be on the 8th in the morning at Di Pasquale's in Canton. First time there. I'm looking forward to that. And then on the 10th in the afternoon, we're going to be over at Costas in Timonium, the new location. I'm looking forward to that. If you are a Happy Eddie fan from television, you can pick up the Eddie-bles, if you can see that. And Eddie did bring me a T-shirt. I've been trying to get you out for months, man.
I'm glad I came out. I'm glad I made it.
You already got a dozen crabs on the way out of here, too.
I get a goodie bag, too.
We're at Reader's Crab House. We're up here in Reisterstown. We're doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour, presented by the Maryland Lottery, Curio Wellness, as well as Liberty Pure Solutions. I'm going to wrap things up. They brought me a crab cake. I gave it to Izzy Patoka's assistant because I didn't have time to eat it. I'm going to have a proper crab cake.
You need to.
With Hope and Brandon here. We're going to close things down. We had a great tour stop out here in Reisterstown. I want to thank everybody for making things happen around here. My friend Rich at Miche Pest Control, as well as Luke and Alan that were here earlier, and Izzy Patoka who stopped by from the 2nd District, talking about the Reisterstown Main Street and the music thing they do on Friday. And I don't know if you're a dessert fan. It's 100 degrees outside. You look physically fit.
I am a dessert fan.
You know about the Cow around the corner?
Yeah, I do actually. I've been there before.
You got to go to the Cow.
Yeah.
On the way out, I'm going.
You're going you have to
I'm going to the Cow because it's hot,
Yeah,
and so I'm going to eat it. The little icy thing on the way home, the whole way back. So
there you go.
Got to get down to 795. All right, we're up here in Reisterstown. Your products just go to Foreign Daughter.
You go to Foreign Daughter.
They're available in other dispensaries.
Whichever
right?
dispensary is closest to you, definitely check it out. They should be available if you go to Leafly or go to your neighborhood dispensary. They should have it available. But Foreign Daughter definitely has it.
Black owned and locally operated.
There you go.
Happy Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh, and look for is that Pride Month that you do that, or is that all year round?
That's just the color. We're still
year
about
round.
happy year round.
It's rainbow year round.
There you go.
Okay, I'm just checking out.
It's the vibrant colors. That's why
all right,
the packaging.
Yeah. Well, at some point we're going to get together and do a Ravens. You got anything you want to say on the Ravens before I go? Because I just want to give you some oxygen on that. I know you're a Raven fan.
I am a Ravens fan.
Super Bowl?
I think so. I think last year prepped them for this comeback this year.
I hope you're right. I'm tired of watching them lose in the end. It's
no fun for me either. It's not fun at all when you make it this close and you can't get over the finish line. But they're there.
Notice I didn't mention the Orioles.
You did not mention the Orioles. I'm surprised. Okay.
I bitch about them enough.
Okay.
You're happy, Eddie.
We're happy. We got to be happy. We got to end on a happy note.
You want to make me sad, Nestor?
No. We got to end on a happy note. You know, on a happy note.
I am Nestor. We are WNST. AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. Back for more from Reisterstown right after this. Stay with us.